Welcome back, everybody. My name's A Prater 54, aka Adam, coach of the Chesney Park Slowpokes, and today I bring you the draft recaps for Shield Division of Sword and Shield. This is the new division added for Season 6 of SDA, so this is going to be rather interesting. And I think I'm going to do things a little differently on this thing. Instead, I'm going to rank this out of 30 points. Instead of just doing a total, I'm going to add bulk to Sword and Shield because it is a rather tanky meta. So we're going to take typings in advantage in to account and synergy. So without further ado, we're going to hop on into the 12 lovely coaches of this division. As we have some Sword and Shield playing in the background. This is just a remix. So we're going to do that for this one. So we have Calidude, coach of the Golden State Aerodactyls. I do not know why you have a lowercase c, but that is bothering me. So we have Victini, Clefable. We have Rotom Wash, Nidoqueen. We have Dragonite, Jellicent, Machamp, Drapion, Aerodactyl, Kangaskhan, and Cradily. First things first. This team is somewhat Dracovish proof because you have Water Absorb and you have Storm Drain. So Dracovish is going to be forced to run a Dragon type move into this team, which immediately gets stopped in its tracks by Strength Sap Jellicent, gets stopped in its tracks by Clefable, so it's going to be incredibly interesting. I'm using Dracovish as a reference because Zera, and Victini are the hardest hitting things in this meta outright. So he already has Victini on this team, so you run a Scarf on that, it can actually do a crap ton of Dracovish and possibly wear it down. Just pivot, U-turn out, go hard into the Jellicent or the Cradily, and that's stopped in its tracks. For ground immunities, we have Aerodactyl, Dragonite, and Rotom, which is incredibly good. For ice resists, we have the Victini, we have it's neutral to Drapion. We have the Jellicent, which has high Spadef. And we have the Rotom Wash. That is rather good. For Rock Resists, we have Machamp when we have Nidoqueen. This team has a phenomenal Dark type and Poison type in Drapion, which is absolutely massive. And yeah, that's insane. If this was the gen before it and we had Mega Kangaskhan, Parental Bond would be disgusting. I believe Kangaskhan gets Wish this gen, so that is also very, very good. And yeah, he has, Sword and Shield was very, very heavy on the hazard removal meta as well. So seeing 3D Foggers here is absolutely massive. But as far as Victini, bulky. Nidoqueen, bulky is Sin. Jellicent, Clefable, bulky. Clefable gets access to Teleport and T-Wave, so it can just cripple. Checks Dracovish, forces it out, teleports into a new Mon, rinse, wash, repeat. All in all, as far as bulk-wise, this team is very, very good. Now we look at speed. We have 130, then it drops to 100. The problem is with that is there's a soft cushion of 105 to 126 Mons that threaten Mons like Victini and Drapion. So we're going to have to consider that, and which is why this team's incredibly bulky. Just the speed tiers in general, it can fluctuate as a Trick Room team, kinda. It can run as Tailwind. Victini is just a monster. All in all, very, very good speed tiers. I'm just going to give it an average point for now, and I'll think about it later. Removal. Um, if you have a lot of defog and spin, you'll probably get a 5. If you have 2 or 3 just defoggers and general options, you'll get a 4 on my scale. Momentum is definitely interesting here. It is massive that it has U-turn, Volt Switch, double baton pass, and teleport. Teleport is huge this gen. So we are, even though it's not a lot, what here is quality. It makes this team incredibly bulky. Granted, I would have loved to see more U-turn, but beggars can't be choosers, so it is good. It's average, but it could be better. Hazards. 4 stealth rockers and 2 T-spikers. That is phenomenal. I haven't figured out how I'm going to grade this, because like if it had spikes and webs, it'd be a 5. If it had spikes in general, it'd be a 4. So I might give this one a 3 or a 4. So we'll see. I'll be biased. I'll give it what I think it gets. Priority. We have Extreme Speed, Dragonite. I think Machamp gets Mach Punch. I cannot remember. Can't remember if Victini gets any priority off the top of my head. But it's a little low in the priority department, but that's fine. We'll add those up later. We'll do it like that. Okay, I have a plan now. Next, we will hop on into the next team. Let me get to where it was. We have Brad GG. This is a spicy team. You have the raw natural bulk, Spadef bulk, and Snorlax, Gastrodon, Diancie, and Bronzong. You have triple Levitate. Mold Breaker is the only thing that's going to touch you unless gravity's up. That is phenomenal. And then when you take in consideration synergy to Fairy for Hydreigon, you have Cinderace, you have a Bronzong, which it's not going to touch, and you have Scolipede that can switch in. When you take in consideration of water, you now have Gastrodon there for an immunity. You have a ×4 resist in Rotom-Mow. You have a Ditto that can be anything. Bronzong's bulky as all sin. And, oh, okay, so the SV docks are broken with the Urshifu's, but the Sword and Shield docks work. That's interesting. That is very, very, very interesting. But this team has a lot of potential. It has Urshifu Rapid Strike, Clicking Surging Strike. It has Scolipede with Speed Boost SD and a very consistent hazard setter. It has Court Chains and Cinderace. Urshifu can punch through any protect, which is massive. But this gen, it's forced to run protective pads if it does not want to eat Rocky Helmet. So it's kind of both a good and bad thing. It does not have the punch glove to boost. Hydreigon gets defog back this gen, so does Rotom. That is huge. All in all, very, very good bulk on this team. A lot of these teams are probably going to get 4 or 5 on bulk, just bulk and synergy. Like, just how they're built. Because that's how Sword and Shield is. You need synergy. Alright, we're going to look at speed tiers. Oh, that is spicy. We got 119, 112, 98, 97, 86, 70, 50. Ditto can be anything, so that's an asterisk. And then you have the slow boys. You have Snorlax, Bronzong, and Gastrodon who do not care about being slow. So, all in all, very, very good speed tiers. There's not huge inconsistent gaps. Very, very good. We will look at removal. We have to take Court Chains into consideration and 2 defoggers, so that one is going to be very good. Here's what I like to see. 4 rockers, 3 spikers, and a T-spikes. If this had webs, this team would be a 5, but it is going to be a 4. Without a doubt. There's so many hazard options. So I don't think Spikes is right. I don't think Deontay got Spikes until SV. But we're going to look at priority. We have Aqua Jet on Rapid Strike. We have Sucker Punch on Cinderace. And that's about it. You may be lacking in priority, but that doesn't mean much. Because you are going to explode on your opponent. You only need priority if they are faster than you. Your speed tiers are well enough to be fine. You're gonna have a very limited mon to outspeed Cinderace, and it's not like Dragapult's in the format to run through you. And you have one of the better answers to Urshifu Rapid Strike already on your team in Gastrodon, which is amazing. Oh, and I didn't mention the Grass resists, Scolipede resists, Hydreigon resists, Bronzong resists, Cinderace resists, and Rotom 4 times resists. That is huge. Gastrodon is not being touched in this team, and a special move's it's just gonna brush off Snorlax. But as far as momentum, let's look at this team. We have triple U-turn, Volt Switch, and quad Baton Pass. Even though this does not have flip turn, rip Gastrodon, still not having it. I did not get it in SV either. And teleport is fine, but overall momentum is very good. Alright, we will hop on into the next team. Notorious HIM is trying Sword and Shield draft for the first time. He enjoyed the game, like his playthroughs, but he has an SV original as far to my knowledge. But sweet Jesus, look at this team. We're going to look at the speed tiers later, but that can easily be explained by what's about to happen on the screen. You have, right off the bat, 4 ground immunities immediately, which is absolutely insane. And he's not even ground weak. He's neutral with Vileplume, and he just has the weakness in Entei. He just did it because he can, which is absolutely just insane. But Lando this gen, what makes it massive is it got back Rock Polish, it got back Knockoff, it got back Self-Destruct, and it got back what was the last move? It was, I can't remember what it got back, but it's at full strength now. It can Rock Polish in front of you and then just hammer away with Adamant Tank. It can be fat and offensive now with Rock Polish. Lando is going to do Lando things. Corviknight is a lot better because it has 16 Roosts now. Latios, I believe, has Roost back again, which is just insane. The Cursula gets Recover. Zapdos gets 16 Roost. Vileplume gets Strain Step, and I believe 16 Synthesis back, or I think Synthesis might be 8. Oh. Weavile does everything Weavile wants to, and I believe it gets Iron Tail back. Instead of running Metal Claw, it can now run Iron Tail. Entei got Eruption back. Hatterene has can't remember. It's Magic Coat back. So you, and I believe it's, it'll come back to me later on. Inteleon gets Scald back. Well, it had Scald, but it's a lot better. This gen. But all in all, wow. The synergy of this team. You have a Trick Room mode with Sandslash and Vileplume. You have Tailwind with Latios, with Zapdos and Corviknight. You have Extreme Speed Entei. You're immune to Intimidate with him. Weavile's here to just blast things away with Knockoff. And that is just insane. So, all in all, this team is absolutely ridiculous. But, yeah, it's going to be another one of those. Like I said, a lot of these teams are going to get 4s. This one, if it wasn't for those first 3 and Zapdos, this one would be one of the 3s. But just because of that bulk alone, this team is threatening. This synergy is threatening. The only problem is Freeze Dry runs this team. So you're going to have to watch out for that. If you play a Kyurem, you're absolutely cooked with this team until Hatterene comes in. You need to watch out for that. You need to absolutely watch out for that. Momentum-wise, look at this. Quad U-turn, Volt Switch. 5 Baton Passers and Flip Turn. Holy momentum. Holy. I don't know whether to give that one a 4 or a 5, but we're going to just put a little bit of an asterisk there. The interesting thing about this team is this is one of those situations where a massive speed drop does not matter. Because look at this. Hard hitter. Hard hitter. Hard hitter. Hard hitter. Hard hitter. Hard hitter. Shall I go on? Bulky. Incredibly bulky. These guys do not care about speed. This does not change the factor of the speeds here at all. Granted, anything faster than 67 can fit this pocket, but it has to survive a hit first in order to do that. Removal. Sweet Jesus. Rapid Spin and 4 defoggers. I might have to just give this one a 5 because it just can get rid of, remove anything it wants to. Right then and there. Hazards is pretty decent. It's just missing T-spikes and webs, but it has what it needs. We're going to just give that one a fair grading. But priority is where this gets interesting. We have E-Speed. We have Ice Shard. We have Ice Shard and I believe Sucker Punch on the Inteleon, but I believe that is about it. But it still has more priority than other teams, so that one's going to get higher grade than the first 2 teams. So this just got very interesting. Interesting. We had 2 teams back to back get the same score. That's simply interesting. We are going to hop on into the next team, which is Mario Fan. If it ever loads, I need to take a drink. Okay, So this was the interesting spicy team that I saw. So look at these speed tiers, but we're also going to factor in On Burden and Sand into this equation, and On Burden Swoobat. I believe Swoobat gets it gets simple and it has setup potential. I believe it gets On Burden as well. Then you got Regieleki, terrain boosted by Electric Surge Koko. Good God, sweet Jesus. If they shred the ground type, you are absolutely fucked. I will say that now. You are fucked. Because there's a Prim there. There's a Belly Drum Slurpuff that has On Burden. And they have Sticky Webs. Whew. This might be the first team I actually give 5 to 4 speed-wise. Look at those tiers. 200, 130, 114, 95, 88, 86, 72, 60, 60, 25, and 20. But the things 60 and below do not care about their speed at all, which is incredibly interesting. Mario just has to be careful that he never baton passes with Swoobat with the stats. Otherwise, that's an auto DQ. So be careful if you run Electric Seed. You can't have that on your set. But you're a smart enough player to not do that. Okay, we're going to look at synergy here. Alright, we're going to look at... He's got double steel. One is neutral to ground. One is weak to it. Well, you got Flying Tech. Flying Tech. That's a little bit of immunity, but the problem is, yeah, he kind of gets shredded by ground types if he gets, if a good ground type comes against this and the sand's gone, he might be in trouble. But they have to outspeed Excadrill. They have to get through Ferrothorn, and Ferrothorn's gonna just power whip straight through most ground types. So that's not too much of a hindrance. Granted, there is a same type weakness synergy in this team of fighting, because you have Kyurem, Ferrothorn, Excadrill, and the Beware that are weak to fighting, and the Gigalith. So Amon like Conkeldurr is gonna run this like it's no tomorrow, because you got Prim, Swoobat, and these two fairies over here to resist fighting, but they're not going to take a Guts boosted Mach Punch very well. So that's going to be a slight issue. We'll figure that out as it goes. He just made this team to have fun. It's an all or nothing gambit. Granted, it's not the bulkiest thing in the world, but it works. He's got 2 Spadef tanks. He's got a physical tank that's fluffy, but EQ runs it. So, because it doesn't make contact, Beware will take actual damage from EQ. So, this is definitely going to be interesting. I really want to see what Mario does with this team. This is another one of those... Bulk-wise, it's not like all the way up there, but it's middle of the ground. Priority-wise, what do you have? Aqua Jet on Prim. That's it. I believe that's it. But when you're this fast, do you need priority? No. So... you're going to get at least a 1 for that. Hazards. You are pretty decent on hazards. You even got Sticky Webs. T-Spikes would be amazing for this team, but not exactly necessary. But it's still pretty good. Removal is where this team gets interesting. We have triple defog and double rapid spin. Full points, my friend. Full points. Momentum is where this gets scary. Triple Volt Switch in electric terrain is absolutely disgusting. You got U-turn for the ground types in Koko. You have the baton pass, and you have flip turn to run. You can scarf it, chip damage on a physical attacker, go hard into Ferrothorn. Now they are taking not only the flip turn damage, but rough skin, rocky helmet if they're not protective pads. And if it's a grass type, that's a times 4 resist. So Ferrothorn's not going, well, he's going to appreciate that, and you're going to have to deal with it. All in all, that is incredibly good. See, the priority is what made this hurt this team. If it had more priority, way up there point wise. This is a phenomenal team. This is hyper offense as you can get. Mario, I love this team. I love Sand and Sword and Shield, but I never thought to try it with electric terrain, so this is going to be interesting. Oh, and if they try to use your own rising voltage into you, you have an Excadrill. Try it. But we are going to hop on into the next team if it loads. Alright. So, first things first. Ooh, baby, look at this team. Look at this team. So, we have Gorilla Tactics, Darmanitan, and Zen Mode to make it the first Ice Fire type. Makes it incredibly fast, incredibly frail, but it hits like a truck if it's in that state. Absolutely disgusting. We have Garchomp, one of the best hazard setters in Sword and Shield, because this is before Glamora. Absolutely disgusting. Rough skin, rocky helmet really, really hurts. We have Nihilego, which is just a setup sweep monster. I really don't want to deal with Nihilego behind T-Spikes or Rocks Are Up, and now it just boosts over the top of me. Granted, it's times 4 weak to ground. It's fine. You have grassy terrain. So that makes it half damage now. You're not getting one hit KO. Alright, now you run Weakness Policy, Rock Polish, and I believe this thing gets stored power. Now you're cooking. You just spam stored power, Sludge Wave, Power Gem. That's it. If it does get stored power, you're cooked. Absolutely cooked. Game's over. Hand me your man card. You lost it. You got revoked by a Lily impersonator. Have fun. Then you got Metagross. Bulky as sin, especially in electric terrain. We're going to cut my weakness down to just fire. Cool. Sign me up. I have a Garchomp. Okay. That's not enough. We have a Barbaracle that times 4 resists fire and a Blastoise. You want to cook some more? Okay. You want to bring in... Okay. Let's say a water type in grassy terrain in front of a Blastoise. You've got Terrain Pulse. Guess what? Your grass type's getting nuked. Especially if a shell smashes up. This just absolutely turns into a Solar Beam in grassy terrain. Bye-bye. Bye-bye grass type. You're not walling me anymore. I don't know if Alakazam gets Terrain Pulse. If it does, that's very interesting. Double Psychic, double Poison, double Water is definitely interesting for this team. I would have loved to see another Grass to take advantage of Grassy Glide. That would have been absolutely hilarious, but I don't think any good ones were left. But to top it all off, after you break through the Garchomp, after you avoid losing to the Nihilego, after you struggle with the Metagross, and dealing with the Bulu clicking Horn Leech in grassy terrain and just refusing to die, you have a Hawlucha sitting in the back. Okay, get cooked. And if you really need a special breaker, you have Life Orb Alakazam to just chunk through a team. If you want a Mon that can just sponge hits, even a Wicked Blow from Surging Strike, from Single Strike that's not choice banned, and burn it, you have Galar, Galarian, Corsola. That's insane. That and Garbodor, it doesn't look like much, but it's bulky as sin and it's faster than you think it is. This is one of those teams where the speed tiers are deceptive because Nihilego can speed boost, Garchomp has Scale Shot, you have Shell Smash Blastoise, you have Hawlucha, and you have Shell Smash Barbaracle. Have fun. And you have Agility Metagross in grassy terrain. Would you like to lose to the weakness policy now? So all in all, if you thought the Sand team with electric terrain had speed, this one is right up there with it, with the fundamental stuff it can do, especially tech-wise. There are several forms of speed control. Bulk-wise, very, very phenomenal. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. Granted, it needs one more tank. That's all it needs, is one more tank. Momentum-wise, we are going to look at double U-turn, baton pass, flip turn, and teleport. That is incredibly decent. Removal is defog. You're getting rid of your own terrain, but that's fine. And you got rapid spin, which is a consistent, reliable spinner. We're going to be fair with that. Hazards. 5 rockers. 2 spikes, 2 steed spikes. Very, very good. And then we look at priority. Aqua Jet Blastoise, Bullet Punch Metagross. Bulu does not get Grassy Glide, unfortunately, in this, I believe. So that is a little bit limited. But all in all, still a good team. Man, this is going to be a hard-ass scale at the end. Because every team is about even right now. Out of 30, like, only one has gotten below a 20. Which is absolutely ridiculous. We're going to hop into Niue. If it loads, Zeus, I love your team. But we're getting to the Niue. He wanted to have fun in his own way. When Niue has fun in his own way, the team is not incredibly bulky as Sin, but it has a fun set of toolboxes. Wishiwashi is fat. Jirachi is fat. Vikavolt is fat this gen. Grimmsnarl can be fat if you run bulk with Prankster. You have Klebsky with screens. Okay, maybe I lied. This team is a little thick. So we're going to do it more bulky than I thought it would be. But I love this team because of one factor. Holy hell, look at the momentum. 5, 3, 5, 2, 2. This is a 5 out of 5 momentum. The first one of the day. Because all this team does is, I'm going to Parting Shot. I don't think Marpeco gets Parting Shot this gen. It gained it in Sword and Shield. So it's pulling off a Nat Dex with this. But it Parting Shot Grimmsnarl, lower stats. We have Talonflame with priority defog, best one in the game. And even works in the Psychic Terrain, which is massive. Thundy gain defog. Klefki has Prankster defog. He has 2 of them. Oh my god, Niue. Niue. This is a joke of a team, but you're getting a lot of points. Momentum and hazard removal is very, very good. Very good. And then we look at hazards. We have triple rocks, we have spikes, we have toxic spikes, and we have sticky webs. There's options. It may not be many, but look at the quality. And I mean this, the quality. Nidoking's a breaker that you never expect to set rocks. Jirachi just comes in, doesn't care, sets rocks, or spams T-Wave, or Iron Heads over the top of people because there's no covert cloak. And you pair that with Vikavolt sticky webs, Jirachi just plays the 60% game, unless you're inner focus. That's about it. Or you can't be flinched at all. That's it. You're done. Jirachi cooked. GG. Hand him the receipt. Now we look at the speed tiers. No, I gotta stick to my word. Majority of these are 4s. Now that I look at it, Jirachi's bulky, Mesterid's bulky, Vikavolt. Talonflame can be bulky in the right switching situation, and proc Flame Betty. Nidoking, Wishiwashi, yeah. Half the team is bulk, the other half survives on screens. I actually have to give this one a 4 actually instead of a 3. Priority is where this gets interesting. I believe Keldeo has Aqua Jet. I don't know if it has Vacuum Wave this gen. I believe Wishiwashi gets Aqua Jet. We have Sucker Punch on Grimmsnarl. We have every flying move on Talonflame in the world. And we have Prankster T-Wave, Prankster Screens, Prankster Spikes. Yeah. We're going to give this one a good, solid score. And now we get the speed. Look at these speed tiers. Now you factor in Tailwind. You factor in Trick Room with Wishiwashi. You factor in speed control with Vikavolt. Now you got Jirachi and Nidoking punching, and the Thundy punching. This team forces webs. Sorry, boots, which is just annoying. And then you have the double T-Wave spam. On top of that, speed-wise, this is very good. You go 126, 108, 101, 100, 97, 85, 80, 75, 60, 36, 30. In the right hands, this team is absolutely bonkers. Granted, it's not the bulkiest thing in the world, but with the screens, the status cripple, and I believe Copycat Mesprit, Copy throws the everything back at your face, and you run all this behind webs. I'm sorry, but I have to give this one a high score in speed. There's a lot of options. The last 3 teams have been max points on speed because of the synergy of what the team does and the overall speed. Holy, okay. So far, this is our highest team. This is the bar to beat. And it is a literal toolbox. And it's hilarious. Also, I did not factor in electric resist, electric resist, electric resist, electric immunity, Wishiwashi, and these guys are fine. Your psychic, you got double darks for that. Yeah, synergy is pretty good. And you got 4 things off the ground for the uh, things weak to ground. All in all, that's pretty good. All right, we're gonna just accept that happened. That this is some point scale wise, this is the best team so far, which is absolute insanity because Niue just did it for fun. Next, we're gonna go into King. King had me help him draft. All right, so what you're looking at on paper doesn't look like it's overwhelming, but there's a lot that this can do. Look at these speed tiers. I know it's slow, but you also have to take in consideration there is a terrain option, there's a sand option, there's tailwind, there's reliable trick room setters. This is going to be guess if I'm tailwind, guess if I'm sand, guess if I'm grassy terrain, guess if I'm trick room. These speed tiers do not care, and I am compelled to give this team a 4. Granted, it doesn't have anything above 100, but used right, this just is nasty. Tailwind Togekiss is fat enough to take a move it's weak to, proc a weakness policy. Now it's hammering you in the face. You have base 70 Banded Grassy Glide punching you. You have T-Tar Bulkiest Sin, doesn't have knockoff, but it has Crunch and Rock Polish now. It doesn't have to run DD. It can run bulk offense, minimal speed, weakness policy. This gen. And this gen, 1 DD max speed is enough to outpace a lot of the meta. Think about that. Things are slower this gen than SV. So T-Tar can absolutely prosper. T-Tar can cook. I had to reset the music because I went to the end. But what makes this interesting, another compilation of the speed, is there's an Araquanid here with 3 Trick Room setters, 2 of them getting teleport. What do you think happens? That is an Araquanid moving first. That is scary. There's another factor. Quick Claw is not banned. So there is Quick Draw activating. Slowbro can move first. Think about that. That is another form of priority. That is insane. This fucker over here gets Status Cripple, gets Toxic back, gets access to Pain Split, 16 recovers, gets access to Teleport again and Trick Room, goes right into Araquanid, goes right into Melmetal. Melmetal hits so damn hard. Melmetal forces Waters to come. What bashes Waters? Rillaboom. That is absolute sanity. So, if you think about ground immunities, he has 2. He also has a resist in Araquanid, and he also has Rillaboom having Earthquake, Bulldoze, and Magnitude. He also has Intimidate Arcanine. Another thing Arcanine can do is run Flash Fire to cover Rillaboom's ass. Cover Tyranitar getting a Will-O-Wisp to the face. Arcanine comes in. Flash Fire boosted. Would you like to play with Burn Up? No. Arcanine will get rid of its typing, become typeless with Burn Up, and if it's boosted and specs, water types, there's very limited that switch into it, and it's a resisted hit. Think about that. Because Flash Fire is 1.5 damage on top, plus its choice specs, you're hitting at double damage, almost 2.25 damage with Burn Up. and it's base 150. That resisted hit now becomes 75% to your water type. And now I'm not weak to water. Arcanine is very good this gen. So this is one of those teams where you don't need a whole lot of hazards. So he's going to have 2 on that. But if you factor in overall bulk of the team, this is going to be our first 5. And you factor the synergy, that is very good. Speed, this is a 4. Removal, you have Defog and double rapid spin. Even with those, what is affecting, what's going to take a lot from Stealth Rocks on this team? Not much. And then we get to priority. We have Rillaboom. We have Mach Punch from Hitmonlee. We have Extreme Speed from Arcanine. And we have the Glowbro. This is one of the harder hitting priority teams. And you still have to deal with the Burden and the Sandrush or Scarf Dracovish sitting right there wanting to punch you in the face. Granted, this team's not going to have a incredibly high score, but this team is just going to be a handful to deal with. Bulky all sin and hyper offensive. Have fun. This is the definition of Sword and Shield. Balanced hyper offense. Momentum wise, triple teleport, double baton pass, and U-turn. Even though it does not have electric type, this team does not need one to prosper because you have reliable pivots. Next, we are going to hop on into the back half. Here's where things get interesting. Spoopy did not care. How many Ultra Beasts are there? They took almost half. And they have Kartana. They have Celesteela. They have Double Steel. One of them is off the ground. They have a Xurkitree. Granted, this isn't a bulky as Sin team, but it's a fun team. You have to deal with Hyper Voice Sylveon. You have to deal with Sheer Force boosted Flare Blitz Darmanitan with a Choice Scarf just running into your goddamn teeth and kicking them in. You see those arms? Those arms are for punching. And it will punch you. They have DD Zygarde with extreme speed. Land's Wrath, which ignores your ground immunity, which is insane. On this team, and they have a Galar Moltres that gets Berserk, Agility, and Nasty Plot can set up with the Citrus Berry, get out of hand incredibly quick. Fiery Wrath is amazing because there's no covert cloak. So is Air Slash. So is Hurricane. This team just punches. Granted, it literally only gets the T-spikes for hazards. That's all it needs. Okay? Your removal. You got good removal. Surfetch isn't going to click it as much, but Kartana can just come in and click Defog safely unless it's in front of Fire type. And Starmie is fast as Sin and threatens things that want to kill, well, swap in to block you. Starmie is still going to do a lot to a Ghost type trying to switch in and spin block, basically. So that is also very, very interesting. Speed wise, we have 115, 110, 108, 109, 95, 95, 90, 83, 65, 60, and 61 and 60. There's another thing. Celesteela has Automize. Cortana has SD. Darmanitan can run Salac Berry Belly Drum after rocks, and then just Drain Punch all of the HP back at +1 speed. There are options that this team can do. Priority wise, I believe you got Mach Punch in Darmanitan, you have Extreme Speed, you have Sucker Punch Gengar, you have First Impression Surfetched. Cortana gets Quick Attack. That is very, very good. Momentum hurts them a little bit, but look at the team. Do we need to be swapping? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Bulk-wise, this team is interesting. This may possibly be a lower scoring team, but compared to what you have to deal with, I don't want to deal with this. I'm glad that this is in Shield, because I don't want to deal with this in Sword. Next, we have Zintaff. We're almost there. We've got 4 left. This is longer than the Latios one, but for good reason. But look at this team. He got Stakataka and Bucephalon. And he also got Mamoswine, Zarude, Gyarados, and Zeraora behind Sticky Webs. I don't want to deal with Stakataka Click and Trick Room. I don't know about you, but one wrong move and a weakness policy, Stakataka ends the game unless you can take a physical hit. Or you have Unaware. That's it. Weakness policy, Trick Room, GG. You gotta hit it on the special side and pray you kill. That's it. It is literally like the slowest in the game with like a 13 speed. It's slower than Slowbro. It's saying a lot. And Slowbro can Trick Room and teleport out safely into Stakataka. Does that sound fun? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Granted, I wish chili reception was a thing. Actually, no. Slowbro doesn't get it anyways. That Sand Slash is... They must have just needed something. They wanted a removal. That's it. Why are you there? You double ice. You wanted another ice resist? Oh. But all in all, look at the speed tiers at this team before we get to bulk. 143, 124, 107, 105, 100, 81, 80, 65, 44, 30, and 13. That is almost damn near perfect fluctuation, and he has dual modes. I don't know about you, but I don't want to deal with a bulk up Zeraora behind Sticky Webs. That does not sound fun. Granted, Zarude lost knockoff, but in SD, but it still hits hard. So did it lose knockoff? What did it lose? Oh, we'll figure that out. But bulk-wise, what we are going to do, because we're going to do 5 for speed on this one, because it fluctuates both ways perfectly for both Trick Room and fast offense, or just relying on webs and leaving Stakataka at home for late game. Bulk-wise, Slowbro fat. Gyarados fat. Zarude fat. Zapdos, Galar fat. Dragalge fat. Mamoswine can be fat because there's limited flying fire. Well, special fire types this gen, so it just sits there. And there's not very many special fighting types either. So Mamoswine just chills. So, yeah, all in all, synergy-wise, very, very good. He's got 2 ground resists, 2 ground immunities, and a mon that wants to get hit by Earthquake and set Trick Room, because it just does 50%, doesn't care. That's not bad. You got 4 things weak to ground, 5 things weak to ground, and half your team resists ground. That's good. Mamoswine kills the grounds. Gyarados kills the grounds. Set up DD. Punch it in the face. Okay. What do you want to do? Zapdos Galar is massive this gen because Defog is very common. So, you want to click Defog on me as I'm clicking Agility, or click Defog as a Scarf Zapdos comes into you? Absolutely not. Are there a lot of viable switch-ins to Thunderous Kick? No, there's not enough ghosts. Not enough. And not enough decent fairies to take a punch from Zapdos Galar +2. And then we have Momentum. You have Teleport, you have Flip Turn, you have Baton Pass, you have Volt Switch, and Triple U-Turn. That is very good. Removal. Defog Ramambi, Rapid Spin. Not the best, but can be consistent. Defog's fast enough to get off. Rapid Spin situational. We're gonna be fair with that. Hazards. Triple Rocks. We've got Spikes. We got T-Spikes. And we got Sticky Webs. We're going to Duke. That fits the 4-point criteria. Priority. We have Ice Shard. We have Ice Shard. We have Ice Shard. That's it. I believe that's it. Unless I miss an Aqua Jet on the Gyarados, or if the Shufflelong gets a Sucker Punch, that's it. Not bad. Pretty decent team. Now we hop on into Mr. Mag, who I'm curious to see how this team perform. This is another, well, as it loads, look at these speed tiers. 130, 121, 108, 105, 100, 92, 90, and then drops off to the bulky boys. Scizor does not care about being slow this gen unless it's in Psychic Terrain. And these two just status cripple. All in all, holy heck. Do I honor the drop off, or do I? Yeah, I gotta acknowledge the speed. And there's a Spectra there, and there's Sticky Webs, and there's a Regen Core. This is Torn T Slowking with T-Spikes and Spikes Roselia, Roserade, plus Galvantula Beatdown, and then what Scizor just chips away, Spectra cleans up, or you have a Moxie Crocodile cleaning up that has access to Scale Shot. Alright. Yeah, that does not sound too pleasant. And you are incredibly bulky. Miltank, bulky. Crocodile, bulky. Dusknoir, bulky. Slowking, bulky. Scizor, bulky. Torn-T, bulky. Minxiao, pain in the ass. Roserade, more bulky than you think it is. Let's put it that way. So we're going to actually give this one a very good score. Momentum-wise, we are going to look at Triple U-Turn, Volt Switch, Double Baton Pass, and Teleport. That Trick Room teleport straight into Scizor is massive, and into Dusknoir is massive with Poltergeist. That could be incredibly good. We are going to do that. Removal. Scizor, consistent. Torn T, consistent. But is it consistent enough? Do we do a 3 or we do a 4? I'm going to give this one a 4 because it can immediately defog because it's one of the faster mons in the game. Hazards, double stealth rocks. It has all the criteria and it's limited. The setters aren't the bulkiest thing in the world, especially with spikes and T-spikes, but you do have the other two. It fits the criteria. I want to give this a 4. And then we look at priority. Bullet Punch. Fake Out. Shadow Sneak. Not bad. These are way too close. We've got 2 people left, and we have a bunch of people literally tied with each other. This is going to be fun to scale. Next, we have the Umber Guardian, who I don't know if he drafted in Sword and Shield, but this is definitely an interesting team. Where to start with this? Does he have a full regen core? No, but he has Buzzwole, resist ground. Dhelmise, resist ground. Skarmory, immune to ground. Armaldo, neutral. Neutral to ground. Buzzwole, resist ground. Heatran, ×2, weak. Toxapex, weak. Silvally, that can be Terra Fly, can be Drive Flying. That's another immunity. And then you have Dracozolt. Also boosted Dracozolt hits incredibly, incredibly hard. But if you are behind webs, you can run Wide Lens and now make everything 80% accurate, including that Bolt Beak, which is incredibly, incredibly good. Orbeetle is not just a Weber. This thing can actually set up agility, tank a hit, weakness policy, recover it off, fire off stored power, bug buzz, and just not care. And it gets iron defense and sticky webs. It just does not care. You got Rapid Spin and Armaldo, tanky as hell, gets access to Knockoff and Aqua Jet. Gets access to SD as well. If you Rapid Spin, Sword Stance, and then you just run your 2 stabs and you're able to just punch a team, Armaldo did its job. And I believe it gets Leech Life so it can get its health back. That is incredibly scary. Dhelmise is a rapid spinner that ghost types do not want to risk swapping into because they can immediately click Poltergeist and now the ghost is dead. So this is one of the freer rapid spinner, just like how Brambleghast was somewhat free in Sword and Shield. But to make things worse, over here you have a Lele. You have Expanding Force Orbeetle. You have Terrain Pulse Silvally. So now it's a Psychic. Terra Drive Psychic. Terrain Pulse is now Stab. Plus the Terrain Boost. That's ridiculous. All in all, wow. This is well built. You have the option of manual sand. Starting the music again. You have the option of manual sand and Heatran, Skarmory, Armaldo. It's pretty sure Dhelmise gets it. Diggersby gets Sandstorm. You can have Draco's Ult and Sand. Even Silvally gets it. There are plenty of options for this team. This is one of those, sure, I have one of 95 speed, but Choice Scarf exists, Sticky Webs exists, Trick Room exists, and Flame Charge exists. That, and you have a mini regen core with just Toxapex by itself. 16 recovers back. That's ridiculous. If you're able to get Buzzwall going and punching things that cannot kill it, Buzzwall just spirals. Then you also have Agility Diggersby with huge power here. So, it, on paper, you don't think it has speed, but it has versatility. Bulk-wise is just cancer. We are going to give, because of synergy and bulk alone, this is max points. Momentum is where this team kind of lacks. You have 3 U-turn, 1 baton pass, which if you're a setup orbital, you're never going to run, and parting shot. Momentum is kind of limited. Removal is where this gets interesting. You have 2 reliable defoggers, 2 reliable spinners. And then we get to the hazards. Hazards are incredibly, incredibly good. And then we look at priority. Shadow Sneak, Dhelmise, Aqua Jet, what is your name? Omaldo. And then we have Quick Attack, Diggersby. So that is at least something. Oh, and I also forgot about the Voltadorb option on Dracozolt for Skarmory and the Toxapex. So now you have an immunity. Great. Now we click Bulk Beak. Crap. It's still gonna do the double damage, but it's not going to be hustle boost. That is still pretty good. All in all, still a very, very good team. And then we finally get into the last team, and then I have to actually rank these, and all of the ties are going to be on preference. We have Dinkix, who is one of the newer coaches to the Silver. And this one is incredibly, incredibly interesting. He is the coach that traded Melmetal to King for Aegislash, which is a phenomenal, phenomenal trade off. Because you have 2 ground immunities right in Crobat and Charizard, safe swap-ins. One of them resists fire. Also very good. You have a normal dark type that is immune to ghosts and punishes ghosts on switching, and it resists dark in Obstagoon. And it's immune to psychic type moves for the Crobat. Very, very good. Finny is here preventing all status. That is a double-edged sword if you are trying to run Guts Obstagoon. Dinkix, I will say this now, you need to proc your Flame Orb first before you send in Tapu Fini. Otherwise, you don't have the Guts. Fair enough. But you do get Parting Shot, and you do get Obstruct, which lowers their defense. Parting Shot lowers their offenses. Aegislash King Shield will lower attack. It can go fast, it can go slow. So ignore this 60 because I believe it becomes like base 100 when it swaps, which overall is not bad. All in all, Very, very good speed tiers. And then behind all of this, you have a Dottler with webs, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things potentially that get Sunny Day for Charizard to have solar power, including itself. That is scary. That in Charizard this gen has Reflect, it has Tailwind, and it has Defog back. Alright. You have the threat you have the solar power threat, but you also have Defog. Alright. Let me bring in my Boots Charizard, Defog in your face, and then care about it later. But all in all, incredibly good. He has a very good Dracovish, Answer, and Seismitoad. It's bulky enough to resist the Dragon type move, and Water immunity, and Ice Fang is neutral. Leech Life is neutral. It has to use Crunch or Outrage to actually do some damage to this thing, or Psychic Fangs. But it can just click Toxic back, or just, I believe it gets Recover. I can't remember. But Seismitoad is bulky, Finny is bulky, Crobat is frail, Druddigon is a bulky son of a bitch, Piloswine is annoying this gen, Aegislash is annoying. Bulk-wise, synergy-wise, this one is very good. And you have a Mew that can do anything. Agility, Dragon Dance, Automize, I believe it else. I can't remember if it gets Quiver Dance or not, but I don't know. I think that's one move that Mew just does not get. We'll have to look into that. But all in all, bulk-wise, not like all really, really up there, but enough to get a 4. Momentum is where this is interesting. Mew gets all of this momentum except for Parting Shot. But you also have Volt Switch, you got Double U-Turn, and you got Parting Shot. So that is very viable, even though there is not a lot. Your removal is also very, very consistent. If you had a Rapid Spinner, you'd have a 5. Speed-wise, Crobat, Fast Tailwind. Raikou, 115. Charizard, 100. Mew, several speed gain options. You have Aegislash that can flip forms. You have Speed Control and Dottler. You also have a Trick Room mode with Dottler, which is definitely interesting. I believe, I can't remember if Aegislash gets Trick Room or not, but if it does, that also is interesting. Mew gets access to Trick Room, so it can set it up for Druddigon on the back. Druddigon's interesting because it gets Ruskin, Rocky Helmet, and Dragon Tail, and access to Stealth Rocks, which is absolutely amazing. Look at what this can get. Mew isn't listed there, but I'm pretty sure Mew can learn Sticky Webs too. But we're going to go off of that. Speed tier wise, we are going to be fair and biased with that. Is it for sure a 5? No, but it is up there in the 4 level. The priority is where it gets interesting. We got Sucker Punch, Druddigon, Ice Shard, Piloswine. Mew gets all the priority, even Grassy Glide. I believe Palpitoad, Seismitoad gets Aqua Jet. We have Extreme Speed and Raikou. We have Shadow Sneak in Aegislash. And I can't remember if Crobat gets Quick Attack or not. But this is probably one of the best teams with priority so far. This team, overall, I'm surprised it was one away in each category from having perfects. And I will say that it was one away in each category from having perfect. But that is all of our teams. I will make the chart of breaking the ties and putting everybody in order. But I will say this, out of 30, nothing fell below an 18. That is incredibly good. But anyways, I will see you soon for the teams being broken down point-wise and the display of who is first and who is last shortly. Alright, like I said, I did these off of a 30-point scale consisting of priority, hazard, momentum, removal, speed, and bulk. All in all, every team incredibly good. Nobody got lower than 18. These scores mean nothing. What hindered some of these teams was overall synergy and removal, what hurt Spoopy and Cali Dude, but they are also, the teams are just as good as the ones that are listed above them. But I had to settle the ties and break them apart. And if you notice, Mr. Mag and Nue, even though Nue had a shenanigans team, there is way too much the team can do synergy wise, defensive wise, speed wise, hazard wise, priority wise, and speed tier wise to not be in number 2. It's justified. But these are to be taken with a grain of salt. I did my best to evaluate teams, be as biased as I could. I don't normally like doing these, but I'm going to do these for the rest of the divisions as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed the draft recap. This is the third one I've done today, and I'm tired. I still have 2 more, but we're gonna keep going. But I hope you guys enjoy. Like and subscribe if you haven't. And please, these for fun. Don't take them too seriously. You guys have a good night. Peace.